Hey, it's Mike Hambright with FlipNerd.com. Welcome back for another exciting VIP interview. In fact, it's our 200th Flip Nerd show today, and I have a very special guest here with me. It's an exciting milestone thanks to the thousands of people that watch or listen to our show every single day. That's why I do it. I do it to inspire others, and my guest here likes to inspire others as well. So today I'm joined by Pete Asmus. He's a real estate investor, a consultant, author, speaker, radio host.
Everybody's clapping.
He's a comedian. And he's really a mover and shaker in our industry. He really loves to inspire others, and he's going to share some of that with us today. In fact, we had to give this a title, and we're calling it "Break It Till You Make It: How to Shatter Who You Are for Who You Want to Become." And we're really going to talk about how you can move past failures or the fear of failure to be successful in this industry, because a lot of people in this industry unfortunately defeat themselves because they convince themselves they can't be successful, or they let some small failure get in the way of everything that could become. So Pete is great at sharing this stuff. I'm excited to have him with me today to talk about this. So hang with us for the 200th episode. Before we get started though, let's take a moment to recognize our featured sponsors. RealtyMogul.com is an online marketplace for real estate investing, connecting borrowers and capital from accredited and institutional investors. Get a rehab loan fast and close in as little as 10 days. Rates start as low as 9%. We'd also like to thank National Real Estate Insurance Group, the nation's leading provider of insurance to the residential real estate investor market. From individual properties to large-scale investors, National Real Estate Insurance Group is ready to serve you. Please note, the views and opinions expressed by the individuals in this program do not necessarily reflect those of FlipNerd.com or any of its partners, advertisers, or affiliates. Please consult professionals before making any investment or tax decisions, as real estate investing can be risky. Hey, Pete, welcome to the show, my friend.
Man, thank you for having me. I am so excited to be here right now.
Yeah. You know what's funny is my wife. I talked about interviewing my wife. My wife is really she doesn't think she gets enough credit, but the reality is everything I do, she's the brains of the entire operation. But when I said, well, how about I interview you? She's like, what am I going to talk about? You know, she's an introvert. So she's like, I don't know. What do I So
right.
She said, well, maybe I'll do episode 250.
250. So she's got 50 more episodes to really kind of find her space.
That's right. So anyway, so look forward to having Lindsay Hambright on a future episode.
250.
Today we've got somebody that's equally as beautiful. We have the wonderful Pete Asmus here.
Did you just call me beautiful?
You did, man. You're hot.
I love it. You know what? I am. You should definitely check out all these photo shoots I've been doing. I feel like I'm on top of the world, man. Which kind of reminds me of I've really been doing probably 5 different photo shoots in the last week.
Wow.
And the last one I was at prior to this was for my daughter who has alopecia. So she has alopecia universalis, and if you don't know what that is, it means that she's basically allergic to her own hair. That's what alopecia literally stands for, is allergic to your hair, I guess. And so she was in a photo shoot with other alopecians, and man, I've never seen her look more beautiful. And it's funny because I have this shot where literally there's 4 different camera people taking shots of her, right? Photographers. And I'm behind her, and you just get to see what she sees. And I really thought that was important to share with the world what she saw from her vantage point, right?
Yeah.
With all these things focused on her. And the reason that I feel that was important is because the reason she was in that position was because of the situation she was in. It was because of what other people viewed as a disadvantage. It was because of what other people viewed as something that wasn't good, right? And now we're showing the great part of it. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, yeah. Thanks for sharing that. And I know that kind of even flows into what we're going to talk about today. Is people often think they're at a disadvantage, or it always takes. You know, I'm not much of a runner, but the last race I was in, which was several years ago, you know, I'm huffing and puffing. I feel like I'm going to die, and all of a sudden some 6-year-old just blows past me, you know, and then it's like an 80-year-old guy that blows past me. I'm like, wait a minute here, I can't. What am I doing here? So yeah. Well, hey, before we kind of dive into the topic today, Pete, why don't you take a few minutes to tell us who you are and how you became so famous?
So famous. Well, thank you very much. Yeah. My name is Pete Asmus. I really kind of refer to myself as Pete Action Asmus because a lot of my life has been based around taking action. And when you look at kind of where I was and how I've come to where I am, it's been really a journey of about, I don't know, probably 10, 11 years, 12 years since I started in real estate. And I'm assuming that's kind of where you wanted me to start.
Yeah.
If we go back to 16 years old, I was homeless at 16. I've basically been a survivor my whole life. It's always been about me figuring out how to accomplish goals, how to get where I wanted to go. And it's really weird because at 16, 17, I wanted to be on TV. And I did everything I could to make that happen, and it never happened. And now it looks like, next year will be the year that I actually make it on with a show. And that really goes to all of the things that we're going to talk about today, right? But my history has been, the reason I got into real estate was because when my son was 6, he got brain cancer. And basically it took me out of the job that I was doing. I had just started a job about a year prior to that for a company. I'd taken over the company to take it across the United States. They had done $5,000 in business in the last year. I came on, and in the first year with me, we did over $500,000 in gross profit, or I'm sorry, in real profit, right? Yeah. Net. And we were halfway across the United States. We were in Texas at the time, and that's when I got the call that my son was in the hospital and that he had a tumor. And my whole life just kind of shattered at that moment. And as difficult as I thought the previous part of my life was, it was nothing compared to what I'd gone through with that, right? What that ended up being. And I'm really kind of losing my mind right now, because I always tell people that you have to go through things to be prepared for the future, right? And I'm sorry, I'm really losing my mind right now, because I just realized that me having my son and the cancer and that really big hit to me, right? That I probably wouldn't have been able to do as well as I did or make it if I hadn't been through all of the stuff prior to that, of me being kicked out, of me living on the streets, of me feeling like, that my parents didn't care and that I was just worthless. And me fighting past all of that to be a survivor, I really feel like set me up that when he was there, I was able to go that, well, it's not going to happen to me. Like, I was able to put my mind somewhere else, if that makes sense, when dealing with that challenge, right? And I think that that's important, because a lot of people get crippled and they become literally paralyzed by their inability to move because of fear.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, there's a lot of real estate investors that I talk to that, they can't move past something. Well, what do you do in this situation? And I kind of found myself very often actually saying, I've never been in that situation, but here's exactly what I would do. Like, you're used to putting out fires or dealing with problems, and you get to a certain confidence level to where, yeah, there's problems every day, but I'm just going to deal with them and move past it. I'm not going to let it limit me.
You become a solution-based thinker.
Yeah.
That's really what it comes down to, because most people, they have ants, right? You know what an ant is?
Tell us, man.
It's an automatic negative thought.
Oh, yeah.
Automatic negative thought. And we have ants crawling all over us, right? And so the moment somebody says something like, say, maybe I said, hey, Mike, let's do a deal together. It's in California. It's $1 million. Now, if you didn't have $1 million, if you didn't have this, if you didn't have that, your mind immediately goes to all of the challenges and the reasons that it won't work. And typically that's what people do. Mm-hmm. My mission is to change that process, to really get you to start thinking solution-based thinker. When I love, there's two real big stories that had a big influence on how I viewed life. One was the story of Steve Wynn. You know Steve Wynn okay. So do you know how he got where he is?
No, I don't.
One of the coolest stories. The guy had no money, had nothing. He basically connected two people. One person had a parking lot on the strip that wanted to sell it. The other person wanted to buy it, and he leveraged himself into it. By connecting them, by being the resource, by being the hub, he basically worked himself into a deal. Then from that, they sold that. They ended up buying the New Orleans, and now he has two gigantic hotels. Yeah. The second big story for me was the person that was basically the promoter for the very last Elvis concert tour, right? I don't remember what the guy's name was, but he was a marketer. He had done producing for TV and stuff like that. Never had done anything with music, right? But he told his wife one day, I want to be the one who produces or promotes Elvis's next concert tour because I know it's going to be huge, and he hasn't done one in forever. He called every day for a year with no, 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 no. Finally, one day, the whatever his manager was, what was that guy's name?
I have no idea, man.
Anyways, he calls him up and says, "Hey, we'll do it, but you need to have $1 million here in Vegas in 3 days, and we'll sign the opportunity with you." Now, he didn't have $1 million. He had to use every resource possible, found a banker that would give him the money, but wanted half of all of his earnings from any of this venture in the future, period. He accepted the deal on the very first concert. When they made their money, all of a sudden, the manager came in with loads, like literally trash bags full of money from all of the concessions. He didn't understand that he got half of that too. Threw it down. He said, from that moment, I was a millionaire.
Yeah.
I've never had to worry about money since then.
Yeah, that's awesome.
A lot of people would have said, well, I don't have $1 million. I guess I can't do this. A lot of people would have said, well, I don't have this. So many people, we view things as what we can't do.
Right.
Instead of viewing them as we can. And this is one of my favorite things that I've been talking about recently. We have to make decisions based on who we want to become, not based on who we are.
Right.
Think about that. Do you drive your car looking at the ground or in the rearview mirror? Does anybody drive that way? No. But why do we live our life that way?
Right.
Why do we live our life and base the things that we think that we can do or where we want to go, and we base them off of where we're at or where we've been? Because if we wanted to be where we are, we wouldn't be driving anywhere, right? We wouldn't be going anywhere. We'd be stopped. So we need to get outside of that thought process of, well, if this is what I have, this is all I can do. No, that's not true. That's only true if you allow it to be true.
Right. Pete, do you think, not to get too much into, we won't talk about politics too much, but, society in America right now is largely victim-based. Everybody's a victim.
Oh, my gosh.
Right? So, I mean, why does that happen? Why are we here?
I think the reason that society is so victim-based is because the reality is we've been raised that way for years. Everybody, we want to take care of everybody, right? We want to help everybody, but the challenge is we always are looking for everybody else to take care of us. We're always blaming everybody else. And it came a moment in my life when I had probably the biggest failure of my life. It was 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, something like that. And I'd lost everything again. And it was like, you've got to be kidding me. And I wanted to just end everything. I was done. I wanted to give up on life. And at that moment, I had this, I thought about my daughters. I thought about their future. And I realized that I didn't want to not be in it, right? Like it was too important for me to be in it. And so if I wasn't going to be that person, if I wasn't going to give up on life, then man, I was not going to let life tear me down anymore. Yeah. And I decided to become responsible for where I was. And I think that was the moment that my life truly, truly changed.
Yep.
And when I was talking to you earlier, all these things that are happening to me now, they wouldn't have happened to me had I stopped my life back then.
For sure.
So many people think it's so bad right now, and they don't realize that the gold is on the other side. You just got to get through the challenge. All those things when I was growing up and I was homeless and I was this and I was that and nobody liked me and I was going in the Navy and I had all these challenges, right? Those set me up for when my son was there and he had this, that I could be strong for him. Those set me up, and he set me up for my daughter when she, because of alopecia at 6 years old, lost all her hair, and I freaked out. But I freaked out because I thought, man, here's a daughter. How is she going to have a normal life, right? How is she going to be normal? Like, who's going to love her, man? And that's a horrible thing for a father to think, but right. I did. And I thought, well, how do I change this? And that's what got me to going back to my tattoo that says, go make something happen. I realized I had to make something happen for her life.
Yep.
And so we started doing videos every day to inspire her to learn the days of the week. It was Make It Happen Monday, go make something happen. Take It Back Tuesday, take back your life. Wake Up Wednesday, wake up and live your life. Thirsty Thursday, if you're hungry for knowledge, you've got to be thirsty for action. We don't want to be a library. Flip It Friday, it's time to move ahead of the pack. Shatter It Saturday, shatter who you are for who you want to become at any moment, and set it off Sunday.
Yeah.
I wanted to teach them the days of the week in an empowering way. So many things that we do on a daily basis disempower us over and over and over again. How do we regain that? One time when I wanted to start becoming healthier, they say that you should drink 8 to 10 glasses of water a day. Have you ever tried to do that?
I've tried. It's a lot.
Let me tell you, you are rationing that stuff out. Like literally every 2 hours, I was drinking I had a full glass, one of these, and every 2 hours, I was just like,
yeah,
as fast as I could. And then, man, I had to wait. It was like, oh my gosh, I don't even want the next 2 hours to be here. Are you kidding me? And then 2 hours would come up and I wasn't thirsty, but I was constantly drinking more water. What I realized at that point was I stopped drinking soda or anything during that time frame, right? Why? Because so much water was in me. I was so quenched. I wasn't thirsty for anything else. We need to do that to our minds when it comes to positivity.
Absolutely. That's great.
If we start shoving positive thoughts into our brains, we can't think of anything else, right? The ants have no room because all we're doing is constantly just berating our brain with, I can do it, the positive stuff. And I listen to Tony Robbins. I listen to Les Brown. I listen to Eric Thomas. I listen to so many people for 4 to 5 hours a day. A day. And people are like, oh man, that's too much. Really? Well, I own 2 of the largest real estate groups on LinkedIn. I have a radio show on Bloomberg. I have a magazine coming out, and I have a TV show that I'm working on. So I don't think 5 hours a day was too much. I don't think anything that I did was too much. It was just right.
Yeah.
And the thing is, what you're doing is just right to get you where you are. If you want different results from life, you have to supply different actions to it.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Yeah. So why do you think, how do people, we talk about this on the show, what a lot of people don't understand is when we pick our topics or what we're going to talk about today, and you had some concerns over, have you talked about this stuff too much, like motivation? And I said, man, we can't talk about this enough. So I think it's something that a lot of people need to hear, because I know there's for me, real estate investing has changed my life. No doubt about it. No doubt about it.
But it's a tool, right?
Yeah, but it's a tool. It is a tool to an end. It's but I think a lot of people want that same thing. And I'm not thumping my chest to say be like me or anything like that. But what I'm saying is why can't more people be successful in this space? And it's because they often defeat themselves. And so I just don't think we could talk about it enough. So tell me why, how people, and even people that are successful on some level that hit some sort of ceiling and they can't take it to another level, it's usually a mental block of some sort. Maybe share some thoughts on how people can kind of break through some of those walls that are between them and where they want to be. Okay,
that's awesome. So I'm gonna use the word NLP with that, right? How we break through these walls is by redefining words to ourselves. By changing the meanings, by changing the words, we have these wristbands, right? If GoMakeSomethingHappen.com, they're wristbands, $3 wristbands. I created them from Journey to Success because I realized that we need symbols that define that, hey, we need to change what we're doing. Should equals must, try equals do, can't equals will. We need to repurpose words and have them create a sense of urgency to ourselves. I think a lot of times success, look, man, I thought when I became successful, I wasn't going to have to deal with any of the BS anymore. I thought that I wasn't going to have any more challenges. I am not kidding you. I literally thought, well, now once I make this level of success, everybody's going to listen to me. It doesn't happen, man. I still have people that I'm chasing down going, are you kidding me, man? Like, look, I've done all this stuff. Why am I still chasing you down? And the reality is because if you want the results, you have to go make something happen.
Yep.
You have to go out and get those results. You have to create the opportunity. You have to go and do all the follow-up. You have to realize that this is your life, and until you become the main star and stop being a supporting role, your life isn't going to be your life. You're going to help somebody else build their dreams. You're going to help somebody else accomplish their goals. You're going to help somebody else do what they've always wanted to do, and you're going to be sitting there going, life is unfair.
Right.
That's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
That's what we do as human beings. We don't want to accept the fact that we need to change and the fact that challenges aren't going to go away. Look, the only thing that makes things different for us, Mike, between when we didn't have money and now is that when we have the free time to do things, we get to do more fun things, right? But the challenges are still there. You still have to take out the trash. You still have to put on clothes. You still have to do your laundry. All these things we still have to do.
Right, absolutely.
Those don't go away. Right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, I in a former life, I worked for a CEO of a very large company, and then I met another CEO of a very large company, very large companies, and until I kind of got to know them personally, it just hit me like these are just regular people. You know, they still are doing errands at home. They're still doing regular stuff. Like who else is going to do it? They're just they're just regular people, and I think to think that those things are going to go away is ridiculous. But it can get easier for you, right? I mean, I don't mow my own lawn. I don't change my own oil. I don't clean my own house. There's things that you can hire away, but life still, it can get better. But I think the most important thing is to make sure that even though those things don't go away, make sure that in your mind you succeeded at what you became who you were trying to be.
Oh,
so what's even worse is you still have to do those things, and you're living somebody else's dream, right?
I think one of my favorite quotes that I literally come up with quotes every day because I focused on wanting to do that. I like creative wording, and one of my favorite things was become the person you've always wanted to meet. Look, who do you want to meet? What kind of person do you want to meet, right? Let's talk about this. The kind of person I want to meet, are they in a bad mood or a good mood all the time?
Good mood, yeah.
Good mood. Do you want to deal with people that are in a bad mood?
No.
Stop being in bad moods, guys.
All right.
You walking around all pissed off and grumpy and this doesn't work and that doesn't work. Yeah, see, nobody wants to do business with me. Well, yeah, because you're completely pushing them away. So we want to do business, and we want to meet somebody that's always in a good mood. Do you want to meet somebody that cares about what you want out of life, or do you want to meet somebody that's only selfish and only cares about themselves?
Yeah, somebody that cares about you.
Okay, so somebody that cares about you. So stop focusing on just you. And when you're talking to people, start focusing on what they need and how can you really help them get to that next level? How can you bring value to their life, right? Yeah. And when we start really focusing on who do we want to meet, then if we become that person, how many people do you think that we're going to be able to bring to us that are going to want to meet us,
They're
right?
inspired by you, yeah.
Absolutely. It's all about becoming the person you want to meet. And here's the other part. When in the face of fear, failure, and humiliation, successful people choose to keep going. They choose to continue on. And I think the difference between inspiration and motivation is this. This is why I don't want to be known as a motivator, because I don't want to motivate people. Money motivates people. Motivation is a temporary fix. People inspire. I want to inspire somebody to change their life. Inspiration lasts forever. Inspiration is that one statement, that one phrase, that one thing like me that hooked forever. My wife said, or my ex-wife, with my son, when he was like 3, bad things were happening. And I said, look, man, if you don't stop, I'm going to have to take him away because I don't want the guy that you're seeing to keep being like this and this and that. And she goes, I can't afford to leave. Those words have literally been burned in my mind ever since they were said. And when my daughters were born, man, there's no way I want them saying that word, right? That word tracks. So my goal is for them to make $1 million in real estate prior to being 10. That's what we're working on, man. That's my goal. Now, if I miss that goal and I hit 500,000, is that still good?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely.
Absolutely, right?
Absolutely.
My whole point is teaching them how to survive so that when they turn 18, they can do whatever they want and they can be with whoever they want. Like, I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
But I don't ever want them to be in a relationship because it's financially based and because they don't know how to make money to get out of it. So I want to teach single moms to be like that. I want to inspire kids. One of the bigger things too that we're doing is my daughter started a charity, man. I mean, last year we raised $900 for children with cancer. And that's my daughter with alopecia. She wanted to give back. So I know that I'm doing something right to create their thought processes,
Absolutely.
right?
That's awesome.
And I think that's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I think whether it's having some money set aside or other things like that, which you were just kind of elaborating on, I think one of the things that I've seen with entrepreneurs that I know, we know a lot of the same people, but successful people, is that you get to the point to where you feel like if I lost everything today, I'll be back in 90 days. Mm-hmm. Like you start to not have that fear of failure because you're like, well, all the knowledge I have now, all the failures I've had, the things that have brought me here, like maybe that's a lifetime of failures, but that's a lesson that I can learn, that I've learned, so I can get that success back faster than ever before because I've already learned all those things. I don't have to go through as many lessons.
And what do we have to do to with that knowledge? What do we have to do with that, Mike?
I think it's important to share with others. Yeah. You got to make it happen. You got to take action.
You got to take action. Yes.
Absolutely.
I love it.
But that's the thing is you know, I have another business that I started before I was a real estate investor, and this is just a common. I've found myself saying this a few times, and it's true. It took me 10 months to learn, you know, to fail basically. But it's like if I had that to do over again, I could have failed in a month. Like I could do all those things I did in a month and compress that. It took me going through that once to learn it. But I think that's an important thing for entrepreneurs. It's a really important thing for budding entrepreneurs, people that are afraid to fail. It's like, it's okay to fail.
Yep.
Just fail fast, get those lessons behind you, and then move forward and don't make them again.
Fail forward.
Right?
Yeah, fail forward, right?
Yeah.
That's what we really want to do.
Yeah.
Wait, what were you just saying? Because you said something that made me think of something that was awesome.
I said several awesome things, my friend. I don't know.
Exactly. You did? No, you said several awesome things. What was the last thing that you just said?
I was just failing fast.
Failing fast. They're giving them permission. I think it was something about giving them permission.
Yeah, just if you're going to fail, fail fast, fail forward, just learn from it. Don't make those mistakes again and just move on. Now
I remember. Yes. So many people want to say, well, Mike, I want to learn from your experience, right? And I want to learn from your experience so much so that means that I now don't have to go through that experience. Is that true?
I think it can be true on some levels, but I think you can learn from others' mistakes. But I think the best lesson are the failures you have yourself. Yeah.
That's right. But check this out. Here's what really happens. You can give me all the knowledge you want, right? It isn't going to avoid the fact that this contractor is going to forget this, or this guy, or I'm going to buy a house that's going to have dry rot, right? You can't avoid, just because I learned what you did in a dry rot situation doesn't mean that every house that I buy in the future will be avoid of dry rot.
Right.
And that's what I think people need to understand, that you can learn from our experiences so that you have the tools to apply them when those challenges happen in your life. It doesn't mean that you get to wipe them away and they don't happen in your life.
Right.
Or people say, well, I want to benefit off of your work. Well, great. I used to weigh 260 pounds 3 years ago. I have pictures. I'll show you, right? 260 pounds. I went to the gym every single day for an hour to two a day for over a year, and I lost 100 pounds. Now,
wow.
if
you
true? Wanted to lose, absolutely
wow.
True. And this is what I love to say. So all of you should be in shape who wanted to learn and benefit off of my work. How many is that? How many of you are in shape though because of what I did? And the reality is nobody. Yeah. I benefited from my actions. You will benefit from yours. And the other part is we are all like a plane. So stop thinking that once you take off, man, you are on this straight ride. And if you go any direction off, then you failed. You haven't failed. You've adjusted. A plane adjusts 1,000 times before it lands. It doesn't just fly in one straight direction. Just like driving a car, you're constantly adjusting, right?
Yep.
Those aren't failures. It doesn't like, if you didn't adjust, you'd be a failure, right?
Right,
if you didn't
right.
adjust, you'd be in the side of the road.
That's absolutely right.
So think about the fact that every time you adjust, you're succeeding. So if you don't get the desired result, adjust, success. You don't get the desired result, again, success, 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 right? It's just a bunch of little steps to success.
Absolutely. That's a great analogy, because I think a lot of people, I think there's a lot, we're here talking about people that aren't trying that fail, but, it's very common. I guess this is not trying, but there's a lot of people that aren't. What do you think causes people to fear failure? Do you think I think it's probably different for everybody, but I think that there's some people that, I don't think there's many people that are worried about failing themselves. They're always worried about what somebody else is going to think of them, or what society is going to think, or what their parents are going to think, or what their spouse is going to think. And how can people move past? Because if they would just go to somebody, to their spouse, and say, look, am I a bigger failure if I don't even try something that I care about and maybe I'll fail? Or if I go try it, work my heart out, and I fail? Like, most people would say, well, if you don't even try, you're a failure. But people never have that conversation, and therefore they just stay where they are. And by their own standards, when they're on their deathbed, they may know that they failed. But everybody else says, well, at least you never did anything risky.
Right.
It's a weird thing, isn't it?
It is. And in fact, you had just said something. If you could repeat the first part of that, because it made me think of man, I'm listening. See, this is a problem with me being a real host, is because I'm listening, and then when I listen, I forget what I was going to say, because I'm actually paying attention.
I was just kind of talking about who are people? Why do people fear failure in the face of whoever it is
That's
they're
right.
trying to, not disappoint.
We're afraid of humiliation. We're afraid that if we do this, it defines who we are. And a result does not define who we are. A result is just that. It's a result.
Right.
The only thing that defines us is us. So if we want different results, if we want different things, we've got to do different things. And we have to realize that, hey, look, there's every successful person has hundreds of failures that litter their path to success, hundreds of them, right? And it's all jumping from one to the other. They don't let decisions and they don't let temporary results dictate permanent solutions.
That's great.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Pete, so we're running a little bit long on time here. Why don't you just give us a couple minutes on, you get somebody like you and me together, we can talk all day. In fact, people don't know that we actually talked for almost an hour before we even started today, which is very unusual for guests that I have on the show, but it was great. So why don't you give some actionable steps how people can try to move past anything that's kind of standing in their way right now?
So one of the first things that you need to do is you need to really define what you want, all right? I call this kind of like the red light, green light. If you remember that back when you were a kid, and you were on the roller skating rink, because I think that's where it happened, right? And they go, red light, green light, red light, green light, right? And
that was right before the organ, the song with the organ, yeah.
Then you had the slow dance backwards on the roller skating rink. But I go to that. So let's say your mission, your goal, and I mean, you really have to define what you want and what you're willing to do to get there, okay?
Yeah.
But once you've defined it, play red light, green light. When you're going to make a decision, does that get you closer to your goal? Yes or no? If it doesn't, don't do it. If it does, move forward. Meaning, if I go and it's Sunday afternoon and the college and football is on or basketball or whatever is on, right? Is that going to get me closer to my real estate goals? No, it isn't. Right? Not unless I'm going to go hang out at a high. Now, I love questions. So how could it? Well, it could if I went to a country club where there's a lot of individuals with high net worths that I could sit there and watch and get to know and become socialized with. And then at the end go, hey, you know what? I do real estate. If I can utilize it like that, then hey, that's a great opportunity. But if not, you need to do things that are going to move you towards your goal.
Right.
You need to do things and focus. And then don't let anything get in your way. Don't. Well, yeah, but I got to, no, don't butt me at all.
Right.
Like, I don't want to hear it because I had to do all of those things. When it comes to sacrifice, people are willing to do whatever. This is the motivation part, right? I'm motivated. Man, I'm excited. Woo! All right, time to work. All right, I got to go. What time is it, right? All of a sudden, the work starts and the effort stops, right? Work starts, effort stops. So the challenge is focus on the outcome. What do you really want? A lot of times we get so distracted by the effort and the work put in that we decide not to do it because we're not focused on the result that we really want, right? When you go to anybody that's done anything that's been challenging, it's because all they could ever see was me standing on the podium getting a gold. All I could ever see was me crossing the finish line first. All I could ever see, that's all they could ever see.
Right.
And they drove towards that passionately, right? They didn't just walk towards it. They didn't saunter towards it. They didn't say, oh, it'd be great if it happens next week. We've got to take that drive and that sense of urgency and put it in our lives. Because here's the thing, guys. Your life, it's a one-time shot, and you have no idea how long it is. You don't.
That's right.
You don't know how much time you have left. And if you weren't here tomorrow, what have you left for your family? What have you left for everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And if it isn't what you want, man, it's time to make decisions right now to change that life,
Absolutely.
to change your outcome.
Absolutely. Pete, so I know you've got, you're a man of many interests. You have a lot going on. If people want to learn more about what you've got going on or visit you online, where do they go? I fear that you have about 50 URLs to give out.
Man, it's
where's
so
the best
crazy.
place for them to go?
So here's the easiest thing I can tell you, right? My name is Pete Asmus, P-E-T-E. That's Pete, as in, P as in Paul, right?
Yep.
Pete Asmus, A-S-M-U-S. Go ahead and type into Google, put my name and hit enter. Everything you've ever wanted to know about me is going to be right there. You're going to see everything from my websites. If you want to see a bio, that's a good bio. If you go to peteasmus.com, you can hit the about me. I even think, anyways, again, Googling my name will get, you'll find everything you want. I think that's the easiest way.
Asking people not to go to page 8 though, right?
They can go to anything. You can Google my name
No,
with
I'm joking.
scam. You can Google my name with fraud. You can Google my name with anything. That's the beauty. That's why I said it's so important to me. I may have failed over and over again to get where I am today,
Yeah.
but I didn't take anybody down with me. Like, I was very, very conscious about the decisions that I made, which is why I have such a great online brand. It's why you can Google my name with all these different things and you don't find anything, because I didn't do any of those things, right?
Yeah.
I cared, like I said, caring about the individuals. I cared enough about the people that I did business with to ensure that if anything bad happened, it always happened to me.
Yeah.
Again, taking responsibility for where I am, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Great. Well, we'll add a link for PeteAsmus.com down below here, and ask people to just go ahead and do a couple searches. They'll find you. I know you're all over the place.
Yeah, well, and the gentrygroup.com, if you go there, I have a couple ebooks that they could download there as well.
Great.
And from Force Your Dreams into Reality, which is the motivation book, to one that I just wrote, that's off-market and undervalued property finder blueprint, which is an ebook that I just wrote. I have another. Anyways, I have a ton of books coming out as well. So I don't want to bore you guys with all this stuff, because really the idea is we want to inspire you to make a change. We want to inspire you to become a better you.
Yep.
And only you can do that.
Yep. Awesome, Pete. Thanks for being here, my friend.
Absolutely.
Thanks for being here for episode 200.
Woo!
Big 200.
I love it,
And many
man.
more to come. Thanks, my friend.
You got it.
We'll see you. Are you a member of FlipNerd.com, the most robust real estate investing platform in existence, where you can find off-market wholesale deals and great vendors literally in your market? You can get access to advice from experts and learn about local clubs and events right in your backyard. If not, please visit FlipNerd.com and register for a free account. You can register in less than a minute. It's pretty much the coolest site that's ever existed in the real estate investing industry, so get on over to FlipNerd.com.